Story 1. The Shadow That Followed Me Home. My name is Ethan Carter, and I need you to believe me when I say this isn't just some campfire story. This happened. Every detail, every second of terror. It's burned into my memory like a brand. It started in October 2021, back when I still managed that little diner outside Ravenswood, Pennsylvania. The kind of town where everyone knows your name, but nobody asks too many questions. My shift ended at 11 p.m. sharp, and every night I'd take the same shortcut home. Black Hollow Road, 10 miles of cracked pavement, hemmed in by dead pines so thick their branches scraped against my car like skeletal fingers. No streetlights, no houses, just the occasional rusted, "No trespassing" sign, half buried in weeds. The first time I noticed something was wrong, I told myself it was just exhaustion. It was raining that night. The kind of cold, needling drizzle that never quite stops, just lingers like a bad omen. My headlights cut through the fog, but beyond their glow, the road was a black tunnel, swallowing everything. That's when I heard it. A wet, heavy thud against the passenger side of my car. Not a deer. Too slow. Too deliberate. My stomach dropped as I white-knuckled the wheel, forcing myself not to look. But I felt it. Something was pacing me. I risked a glance. In the periphery of my vision, a shape. Tall. Too tall. Its limbs all wrong, like a man stretched on a rack. It loped beside my car, keeping perfect pace. Then just as suddenly, it was gone. I told myself it was the rain playing tricks, that I'd imagined the way its head twitched toward me, smooth and featureless as a mannequin's. I was wrong. The next morning, I checked my home security footage. The camera pointed straight at my driveway, capturing the moment I pulled in the night before. At first, nothing seemed off. Then at the edge of the frame, movement. It came from the woods. A figure, crouched low at first, then rising in jagged increments, like a marionette, pulled upright by broken strings. Its limbs were too long, its spine curved like a question mark, and its face, God, its face, just a smooth black void where features should have been. The timestamp read 11:47 p.m. The footage showed it following my car, stopping at the edge of the driveway as I parked. Then, impossibly, it turned its head toward the camera, like it knew I was watching, before melting back into the trees. I didn't sleep for 2 days. But the worst part, it didn't stop. Every night after that, I'd feel it. That prickle on the back of my neck, the sense of something breathing just outside my window. My dashcam caught glimpses, a shadow darting between trees, a hand, too many fingers, pressed against the passenger window. Once, I found a handprint on the glass after parking, black like charcoal, but sticky. It smeared when I touched it. Then came the whispers. At first they were faint, just static, under the rumble of the engine. But soon, I could make out words. A woman's voice, ragged and wet, like she was choking on something. "You're almost home," she'd croon. I stopped driving with the windows cracked. The final straw was the night I saw it inside the car. I'd worked a double shift, left past midnight. The road was darker than usual, the trees pressing in like a funeral procession. That's when I felt the temperature drop. My breath fogged the windshield. The radio cut out. And then, movement. In the rearview mirror. It was in the back seat, curled into itself, limbs bent at angles no human could manage, its blank face tilted toward me. I didn't scream. I couldn't. My lungs locked up, my vision tunneling. Then it leaned forward. I stomped the gas, swerved, and impact. I woke up in the hospital. Concussion. 3 broken ribs. The cop said I'd lost control on a turn, hit a tree. They couldn't explain the handprints on the inside of the windshield. Or the footprints. Bare, splayed, with too many toes, leading away from the wreck. I moved to the city the next week. Changed my number. Got a job where I'd never have to drive at night again. But last Tuesday, as I walked to my apartment, I heard it. A whisper from the alley behind me. "You can't outrun the road, Ethan." And when I turned around, something smiled back. Story 2, The Road That Loops Forever. My name is Daniel Carter. If you're reading this, I need you to promise me something. Never take a shortcut on an unfamiliar road at night. I know how that sounds, like some dumb urban legend you'd tell to scare kids at a sleepover. But this isn't a story. This happened to me. And if I don't write it down now, I'm afraid I'll start to forget the details. Or worse, start to believe it never happened at all. It was November 12th, just past midnight. I was making the 2-hour drive back from my buddy Mark's place in Briarwood, a trip I'd done dozens of times before. Same highway, same exits, same shitty gas station coffee. But that night, my GPS suddenly rerouted me. "Faster route available," that calm robotic voice announced. "Continue straight for 1.2 miles, then turn left onto Holloway Road." I should have ignored it. I knew better. But I was tired, and 40 minutes shaved off my drive sounded good. So I took the turn. That was my first mistake. Holloway Road was narrow, barely wide enough for 2 cars to pass. No streetlights, no reflectors, just my high beams cutting through the darkness, illuminating the cracked asphalt and the skeletal trees that lined both sides. Their branches scraped against my car like bony fingers as I drove. About 10 minutes in, I passed a rusted metal sign that read, "Oakwood Lane, 5 miles." I barely registered it at the time, but 15 minutes later, when I saw the exact same sign, same rust stains, same crooked post, same gnarled oak tree beside it, that's when my stomach dropped. I pulled over, my hands suddenly slick on the wheel. Maybe I'd made a wrong turn somewhere. Maybe I'd somehow looped back without realizing. I checked my GPS. The screen was frozen. Not glitching, frozen solid. My little blue arrow wasn't moving, even though I could feel the car rolling forward. The map showed nothing but a single road stretching endlessly into blank white space. I grabbed my phone. No signal. The compass app spun wildly before locking onto north, even though I'd just turned left moments before. I told myself to stay calm, just turn around, go back the way I came. How hard could it be? 5 minutes later, there it was again. Oakwood Lane, 5 miles. Same sign, same tree, like I'd never moved at all. By 2:30 a.m., I was sweating through my shirt. I'd tried everything, driving in reverse, turning down side roads that shouldn't have existed, even getting out and walking a stretch to see if that would break whatever loop I was in. Nothing worked. Every path led me back to that goddamn sign. Then, at exactly 3 a.m., I saw headlights in my rearview mirror. Relief flooded through me. Another car, another person. Maybe they knew the way out of this nightmare. I slowed down, rolling down my window to wave them over. The car pulled up beside me, and my blood turned to ice. It was my car, same dent on the rear bumper from when I'd backed into a pole last summer. Same faded Pine Valley High soccer sticker on the back window from when I'd coached my nephew's team. And behind the wheel, me. Not someone who looked like me. Me. same 3-day stubble, same red hoodie I'd thrown on before leaving Mark's place, same panicked expression I knew was on my own face right now. We locked eyes. Then the other me mouthed 2 words. "Don't stop." His headlights flickered, once, twice, and then he was gone, vanished into the dark like he'd never been there at all. I don't know how long I kept driving after that. Time didn't seem to work right on that road, but eventually I saw it. A narrow turnoff, half hidden by overgrown weeds. A sign, its letters barely legible. Exit, bridge ahead. I didn't care where it led. I just knew I had to take it. The road was rough, my tires bouncing over potholes as I sped toward the bridge. A rickety wooden thing arching over a ravine I swear wasn't there before. I didn't slow down. I couldn't. The moment my front tires hit the planks, everything went black. I came to slumped over my steering wheel, the sharp beeping of my car's warning system jolting me awake. I was parked on the shoulder of I-79, the highway I'd meant to take home all along. Dawn was breaking. My clock read 6:17 a.m., 6 hours. I'd lost 6 hours on a road that shouldn't exist. I should have been relieved, but as I pulled back onto the highway, something in my rearview mirror caught my eye. A car, my car, and behind the wheel, I was smiling. Story 3, The Radio That Knows Too Much. The following transcript was recovered from a voice memo on Ryan Carter's phone, found abandoned at a truck stop near Elkins, West Virginia. The final timestamp matches the approximate time of his disappearance. Recording begins with the sound of an idling diesel engine. Okay, I don't know who will hear this, but I need to say it out loud before I lose my nerve. My name is Ryan Carter. I've been a long-haul trucker for 12 years, and until last October I thought I'd seen every weird thing the road could throw at me. I was wrong. It started on Route 219, near Elkins, West Virginia, October 17th, 2:13 a.m. according to my dash cam. Fog so thick my high beams just bounced back at me. I was maybe 30 minutes from my usual rest stop when my CB radio clicked on by itself. Now truckers know radios act up sometimes, crossed signals, bleed over from other channels, but this was different. A voice came through, clear as day. Don't take the next left. Not staticky, not distant, like someone was sitting in my passenger seat. I checked my GPS. It showed a left turn coming up in half a mile. My planned route. I figured it was some local screwing round until I reached the turn and saw the floodlights. County workers waving flares. The whole road was washed out from a mudslide. If I'd taken that turn. Pause, the sound of a lighter flicking, then a long exhale. I didn't sleep that night. Just sat in my cab staring at the radio like it had grown teeth. Over the next month, it happened 6 more times, always on empty roads between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. The voice never identified itself, but it followed 3 rules. First, it only warned me about immediate dangers: a drunk driver ahead, a bridge out, a deer frozen in my lane. Second, it was always right. Third, it never answered questions. I tried talking to it, asked who it was, how it knew these things. Only response I ever got was on November 2nd, when I begged for answers. The radio hissed, "You don't want to know." December 8th changed everything. Snowing hard near Seneca Rocks. My radio had been quiet for 2 weeks, and I'd almost convinced myself I'd imagined it all. Then, at 2:47 a.m., turn off your radio. First time it ever told me to do something to the radio. My hand hovered over the power button. That's when I noticed. No static, just dead air waiting. I switched it off. My headlights died for 3 full seconds. When they came back, she was there. A woman in a soaked yellow dress standing in the middle of the road. Not walking, not hitchhiking, just staring at me with eyes too wide for her face. I swerved so hard my trailer jackknifed. When I got control again, she was gone. But my radio? It turned itself back on, and the voice whispered, "Too late." I found the first handprint the next morning, a child's muddy handprint on my fuel tank. Over the next week, more appeared. A massive one on my windshield, fingers longer than my forearm, dozens of tiny ones under my trailer, like kids had crawled beneath it. Worst of all, a palm print inside my driver's side door, cold to the touch, even in sunlight. After the yellow dress woman, I started digging. Local libraries, police archives. Turns out Route 219 has a history. In 1988, a school bus skidded off that washed-out left turn. 12 kids drowned. In 2001, a woman in a yellow dress was found frozen to death near Seneca Rocks. Her last words, "The radio told me to walk." In 2015, a trucker reported shadow people surrounding his rig before he crashed. They all heard the voice first. Sound of the truck door opening, then slamming shut. Last night it spoke again. First time since December. Just one sentence. "They're in the truck with you now." I'm parked at a 24-hour diner as I record this. I can see my rig from the window. The cab's empty, but the radio light just turned on by itself. Sound of glass breaking in distance. Oh God, there. Recording ends with a muffled scream and the sound of the phone hitting pavement. Note: Ryan Carter's truck was found idling at the diner with the driver's side door open. His CB radio was set to channel 19, though investigators noted the unit had been unplugged from its power source. No trace of Mr. Carter has been found. The case remains open. Story 4. The Whispering Billboard. It started with a wrong turn. That's what I keep telling myself. If I'd just taken the interstate like usual, none of this would be happening. But the GPS showed Route 979 would save me 45 minutes. And after 14 hours behind the wheel, 45 minutes might as well have been a lifetime. The first thing I noticed was how quiet it got. Not normal country quiet. This was complete, unnatural silence. No crickets, no wind. Just the rumble of my engine and the occasional pop of gravel beneath my tires. Then I saw the glow. At first I thought it was a farmhouse light in the distance, but as I rounded the curve, there it was, an old weathered billboard standing crooked in an overgrown field, the kind with peeling paint that usually advertises some bankrupt motel or dead-end tourist trap. Except this one was lit up like it had power, casting this sickly yellow light across the road. The ad was for Harper's Diner. Best Pie in Kentucky, exit 3 miles ahead. That's when my blood turned to ice. My dad used to tell stories about Harper's Diner when I was a kid. How he'd worked there one summer during college. How it burned to the ground in '78 after some electrical fire. How old man Harper had died in the blaze. The whisper came just as I was passing beneath it. "Ethan." Not through the radio. Not from outside. It came from inside my own head, but in someone else's voice. This dry, crackling sound like paper burning. I nearly drove into the ditch. When I looked back in the rear view, the billboard's message had changed. Now it just said, "Stop the truck." I should have listened. Instead, I floored it. That's when I saw the figure standing in the field beside the road. Tall, too tall, dressed in what looked like an old diner's uniform. White shirt, black pants, apron. But its face, God, its face was just smooth, pale skin stretched tight over bone. No eyes, no mouth, just 2 nostril holes and ears that came to sharp points. The next 3 months were worse. The billboards started appearing everywhere. Different locations, same sickly glow. Always advertising places that didn't exist anymore. The old drive-in theater that closed in '92. The Sinclair gas station that got torn down when I was in high school. And the whispers kept coming. Ethan, you're being followed. Ethan, don't go home tonight. Ethan, they're in the back seat. Last week I found the first handprint on my fridge. Blackened fingers, too long and thin to be human, smelling like charcoal and spoiled meat. Yesterday my dad's old photo album turned to a page I'd never seen before. A staff picture from Harper's Diner. There's my dad in the back row, smiling, and beside him, a man with elongated fingers resting on his shoulder. The name tag reads Jeremiah Harper, but that's not a human face. It's a mask, a perfect flesh-colored mask with painted-on features. I'm recording this from a rest stop outside Lexington. The billboard across the street just lit up. It says, "Your father should have stayed quiet." My phone's dying. The lights keep flickering, and I keep seeing them standing at the tree line. Those tall, thin shapes in diner uniforms, their blank faces turned toward me. Wait, the radio just turned on by itself. Static, then a whisper. "Time's up, Ethan." Sound of shattering glass, screaming, then silence. Ethan Graves was declared missing on March the 17th, 2022. His truck was found abandoned at a rest stop, the interior scorched as if by intense heat. No remains were recovered. The official police report notes, possible carbon monoxide poisoning leading to hallucinations, though no explanation was given for the handprints found throughout the vehicle, each bearing the distinct ridge patterns of Jeremiah Harper, who died in the 1978 Harper's Diner fire. Story 5. The Eyes in the Cornfield. The following is a transcript of Daniel Carter's final recorded statement, made at 3:17 a.m. on August 15th, 2022. His abandoned vehicle was found later that morning near the Oak Hollow County line, the interior covered in a fine black dust that forensic analysts could not identify. You need to understand, I wasn't tired, I wasn't drunk. I'd made this drive 100 times before. But that night Highway 56 was different. It started with the corn. I'd just passed the old Wilkerson farm when I noticed the stalks weren't swaying right. Not the normal gentle rustling you see in summer, but this jerky, twitching movement, like something was moving through them, keeping pace with my car. Then I saw the eyes, 2 pinpricks of red light, low to the ground at first. I thought maybe a coyote or fox, but when I slowed down, they rose up and up and up, until they were level with my window, 6 feet off the ground, staring at me from between the stalks. The air in my cab turned frigid so fast, my breath came out in clouds. My radio cut to static, then cleared just long enough for a voice, not through the speakers but from inside my head, to whisper, "Daniel, we remember you." I stomped the gas. The eyes kept pace. For 3 miles, those damn lights followed me, weaving through the corn like they were attached to something massive. Then, near the Miller Creek Bridge, they vanished. I should have kept driving, but when I saw the girl standing in the road, her yellow sundress glowing in my headlights, I slammed the brakes. Big mistake. She wasn't a girl. The thing turned toward me, and that's when I saw its face, or lack of one, just smooth, waxy skin where features should be, and above the collar of its dress, those same glowing red eyes. It moved wrong, jerky, like a film skipping frames. 1 second it was 20 feet away, the next it was pressing its hands, too long, too many fingers, against my driver's side window. The glass frosted over wherever it touched. I tried to drive off, but my engine died. The cab filled with the smell of burning corn husks and something else, something meaty and rotten. The passenger door unlocked itself. That's when the whispering started. Dozens of voices coming from the cornfield all around me. "Come out, Daniel. We've been waiting since 1937. I found out later what happened in 1937, the Oak Hollow Harvest Festival, where 12 children went missing in these same cornfields. They found most of the bodies eventually, except for little Sarah Wilkerson, the farmer's daughter. She'd been wearing a yellow sundress. The thing at my window cocked its head, and I swear to God, its mouth opened vertically down that blank face when it spoke. "You stopped." My engine roared to life. I peeled out so fast I left rubber on the pavement. In my rear view, I saw them, dozens of pairs of red eyes now, all watching me leave. I drove straight to the police station. They didn't believe me, of course. Not until they saw the black, ashy handprints burned into my passenger seat. Not until the lab results came back, showing the residue matched no known substance. And definitely not until Officer Jenkins took a late-night drive down Highway 56 to check things out. His patrol car was found at dawn, engine still running, driver's side door wide open. The dashcam footage shows him stopping near Miller Creek Bridge at 2:47 a.m. You can hear the whispers first. Then the corn starts moving, and just before the video cuts out, you see them, hundreds of red lights blinking on in the darkness surrounding the car. They never found Jenkins, but 2 weeks later, a farmer plowing his field turned up a single item, a perfectly clean police badge lying atop the soil like it had been placed there, and beside it, a child's yellow hair ribbon, dated to the 1930s. As of September 2022, Highway 56 has been the site of 7 more disappearances. In each case, the vehicles were found abandoned with their radios tuned to dead air, and all contain traces of that same unidentifiable black residue. The Indiana State Police have since closed the road between dusk and dawn.